All right, hey everybody, we're back again. Another episode of Relaxing Wax. Um, yeah, gonna keep going. I think in the last video I said that I was doing a bunch of these, so this is literally minutes after I recorded the last one. Not even, like probably 90 seconds. Again, I'm trying to go into a lot of these blind and just telling you what I can remember off the top of my head. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to feel natural. And so today we're going to be talking about, so far on this channel, the oldest album. It's not very old, depending on who you ask. But today we're going to be talking about a personal favorite of mine, the album Direction by the Starting Line. And this is an album that I think when it first came out, a lot of people didn't really, not that they didn't understand it, but I think coming from the Starting Line's sophomore album, which was a huge triumph, but honestly, a pretty big mess with their record label, Geffen. They signed to like a major label. I'm pretty sure this is out on Virgin Records. This came out, and they're working with a huge label, huge producer, Howard Benson. What's his name? Chris Lord. Yeah, Chris Lord Algie. I think that's how you say his name. I don't know. Legendary mixer. Worked on this. Just a bunch of money really went into making this album, and it shows because you can hear it. The production is insane. But also, reaching to a wider audience. Not that it sounds more mainstream, but I think this sort of niche that the Starting Line had carved out on Drive Through and Geffen on the previous releases, maybe they kind of departed from that a little bit, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And so I think upon release, I think a lot of people, they weren't disappointed, but it wasn't what they were expecting. And kind of was a new, like, poppier, like the lead single off of This Island is a very poppy song. I don't think a lot of people were expecting that. But man, this album is great. I think Kenny Vasoli has been in a lot of projects and has made a lot of amazing music over the years, but I really do think some of his strongest writing is on this album, specifically the choruses. There's just a lot of really good stuff here. And so, yeah, not necessarily like the biggest fan of the art. It's not that I don't like it, it's just kind of whatever. And it's not even like it like looks cool if you like open up the gatefold. Like it doesn't really, there's nothing there. But yeah, this is Kenny Vasoli. I don't actually know the names of the other, like their faces and their names, the other members of the band. I've met Kenny before in person a few times. I've seen all the bands he's been a part of, and really have loved his music for a long time. And the Starting Line is more than Kenny, but he's obviously a big part of it. And so, yeah, side A, Direction, 21. Are You Alone? Really good song. Island, that lead single. Hurry is another one that I really love. Something Left to Give, slows it down a little bit. Birds, great song. Way with Words, another huge one that I love. I Could Be Wrong, Somebody's Gonna Miss Us. Need to Love, another really good Starting Line song, deep cut that I love a lot. What You Want, and then this one actually does have a bonus track, Pictures. So let's open it up. Get a nice gatefold photo of these strapping young lads probably somewhere in Philadelphia. And then I do like this one. I got the yellow version. I think there's like 500 of these. So it's cool. It's like a yellow marble. You can kind of see a bit of that marbling there. Not like a steak, but yeah, a little bit of red in there too. I can't remember the other. I think there's like a blue one and a clear one. I can't remember. The crazy thing is, I think so. This album came out 2007, I believe. There's another little printout in here. It's actually a sleeve. But this album came out. Oh, here's all the lyrics. So yes, Kenny Vasoli, Mike Galla, Matt Watts, Tom Griskowitz on drums, and Brian Schmutz, which actually Brian was a touring member up until they made this record, and then they added him to the band as somebody who would write and record with them. So that was cool. It's the first album that they've done with these members. But back to what I was saying. This came out in 2007. So when it first came out, I don't think there was a vinyl release. I think it was just CDs. Not that people weren't putting their albums onto vinyl in the mid 2000s, but it just wasn't nearly as big as it was. There really was a huge boom, like early 2010s to the mid 2010s was when it kind of got the craziest. That's when I was into it the most. You'll probably notice as we keep going that a lot of my records are from that era. But this was released in 2012 by SRC Vinyl. Honestly, a lot of their pressings have been just okay. Even this one, it doesn't sound great, especially the B-side gets really fuzzy. It's not super clear, but I'll still put it on and listen. I love this album, and I don't think anybody's necessarily listening to the Starting Line for an audiophile experience. I think they're listening to it because they want to jam out and hear some kick-ass choruses with a really good vocalist. But yeah, SRC put this out in 2012. I did not pick it up because I didn't really get into vinyl until like the spring of 2013 is when I got my first record player, and I didn't want to be one of those people that bought a bunch of records and never played them. So I waited till I got a record player to start buying vinyl, and I went on SRC because some other thing they released came out, and I pre-ordered it, and I would always check their clearance section. And in 2013, the stuff you could get on their clearance section was insane. I got this album for $5. I got a Yellow Card album for $5. I got the first Under Oath album for $5. Just crazy. I've gotten some crazy albums for $5 on SRC vinyl clearance, and also back when Hot Topic was real big into vinyl. I have no idea if they still are, because that's the only reason I really ever went in there. Nothing against Hot Topic. I just never really had a reason to go in except to get records. But I got an Acceptance record at Hot Topic for $5. I got Reflector by Arcade Fire for $5. I got Sea Haven's Reverie Lagoon for $5. Just insane deals that I would find there, and so it was always worth going and checking. And so the insane thing about this, $5, there's only 500 copies of this variant, and if you look online now, this easily goes over 100, probably $150 on average for a copy of this. And so it is crazy that sometimes these things are not valued right when they come out, and then over time it becomes much more valuable. And then the reverse is true, that maybe something's worth a lot right after it comes out, and then over time, for whatever reason, the value drops. I don't know. Not that that's what it's about in buying records, but it's nice to feel like you have something valuable in addition to the value you get from the music and the memories and how it impacts you. And so, yeah, that is Direction by the Starting Line. Um, a really great record. I'm trying to think of what else I would compare it to. I have not necessarily heard a ton of albums that remind me of this specifically. Doesn't mean that there aren't other bands that sound like this, but this came out around the same time that like that first Angels and Airwaves album came out, and for whatever reason, I just associate those albums together. Yeah, I don't know, like having a playlist of like Island into Everything's Magic just makes like the most 2007, you know, sense. I don't know. They're kind of synonymous in my mind, and so definitely check it out. If you haven't, check out the rest of their stuff. You know, you probably have heard if you've gone to like an emo night or even just an occasional karaoke, like their song "The Best of Me." A lot of people know that song. I think it probably depends on how old you are. Maybe if you're younger, maybe you haven't heard it. I don't know, but it's pretty. I feel like it's a pretty popular song, and they'll play it around in restaurants and bars. I feel like I hear it kind of frequent. Not every time, but like, you know, every few months I'm like, oh man, they have this on again. But yeah, the early stuff is great. They are still around. They don't put out a ton of music, but they play holiday shows out here on the East Coast every year, either in Philly or New York or New Jersey. And Kenny Vasoli has gone on to do a bunch of other great projects. I have a ton of Personnel records. I don't have a lot of Vacationer stuff. I have the second album, but I did get to go see Vacationer live and got to meet Kenny and got him to sign the record, and so maybe I'll talk about that at some point. But yeah, each project he's done has been very different. This is started off very pop punk, just kind of turned into more just alternative pop rock, I guess. Personnel has got a lot of roots in just kind of rock and roll and is more experimental, and then Vacationer is very definitely the most pop focused, but like kind of island vibe. It's very chill, good beach music, good summertime, windows down, driving in the car music, and but altogether his stuff is he's made a lot of great music that I really love. So yeah, I'm gonna pack this back up once again. Keep me posted if there's anything that you guys like, that you hate. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a whole feature on a single artist one time. I don't know. I thought it would be really, really easy to talk for 15 minutes about a bunch of artists, a bunch of music that I love, but sometimes it gets a little hard. But I'm figuring it out, and if people are watching, that's all that matters. So if you're falling asleep, great. If you're learning something new, great. If you're finding new music you like, great. If you think this is annoying and you hate all the music that I talk about, it's YouTube, man. There's like literally billions of other videos you can watch. So go and do that instead. Alright, I think I'm done on this one. This has been Direction by the Starting Line from 2007. Check it out, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Peace out.